Picture a world where your credit card isn't just a piece of plastic, but your travel companion to thrilling adventures. Well, guess what? Today, we're continuing to crack the code on credit card travel hacking.
Yeah. So greetings, financial independence enthusiasts. Welcome back to another exhilarating podcast of the Fi Guys. I'm Dom. This is Chris. And today we are stoked to be your co-pilots on this money savvy adventure. Today we're continuing to unveil the hidden gems of credit card travel hacking, because who settles for ordinary when every dollar can be used as a stepping stone toward your dream getaway? Buckle up as we soar into the new realms of transforming credit cards into your jet fuel for your financial independence journey. This is the Fi Guys, so get ready to witness your travel game reaching new heights.
Jet fuel.
Jet fuel, yes, sir. We're getting off the runway.
We're getting right off the runway. We are taxiing to the gate. All right, yes, here we go. We're going to get it done. So this is part 2 of a 2-part episode all about travel rewards, basically your ultimate travel rewards guide to how to use credit cards strategically in order to travel the world for free. So if you're someone that likes to complete a series, go back and listen to the last episode. Make sure that you know where we're at in the story, because we are not going to recap. We already did 5 Friday feedback recap.
Yep. What was that, episode 29?
I believe so.
29, yes.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, because you could get the recap of Monday's episode. That would be Friday's. That would be
actually 30.
It was 30?
30.5, yeah.
That's right. Okay, 30. Be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, so you go back and listen to that if you haven't heard this, because we're not going to be recapping. We're just going to be picking up where we left off. So today, in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about ways to redeem your rewards for travel, staying up to date on the best offers and promotions, accessing business credit cards even if you don't have a business, when and how to cancel your credit card, and finally, the potential risks and pitfalls that we need to avoid when using credit cards and travel rewards. So I say we get right into it.
Let's get right into it. Got a great podcast.
We do.
Maybe the best podcast ever.
I don't know. I think all of them are the best podcast ever.
Everyone we do, I'm like, oh, this is the best. Yeah. It's the best one. My new favorite.
It's my new favorite.
Actually, though, and I say this every pod, and I hate to be that guy, but there's a lot of great information in today's pod.
There really is. And I think this is really the life hack of life hacks. I know that when I say, like, oh, I use credit cards strategically to travel the world, everyone's like, BS.
Tisk.
BS. You're cheating. You're doing something illegal, and this isn't illegal. It's totally above board. And I mean, honestly, everything that we do here through the Fi Guys, we're never going to tell anyone something bad.
Yeah. Not even illegal, just straight up bad.
Yeah.
No, I agree. This is really an important pod.
Yep, it really is. So I say we jump right into it for our listeners. So our first segment is going to be redeeming rewards for travel. So we kind of talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but this is really where the rubber meets the road. This is the meat and potatoes of everything. Just because I know what credit card to get, I sign up, I get the bonus, I have all this stuff, and you have all these points in this account. If I never tell you how to use them, and you're just like, well, I have all these points, so good for me.
Yeah, the points don't spend themselves.
Yeah, the points don't spend themselves. So there's so many different ways of redeeming it. We've talked already about Chase, Chase, Capital One, and American Express. And I've said there's multiple ones that you can use, but those are the 3 biggies. So you can always go through their portals. Each one of Chase, Capital One, and American Express have travel portals that if you have their travel credit cards, you have access to. And you're able to see the points you've accrued within that portal, allowing you to go through and just book destinations. So say you want to go to Japan or Costa Rica or, I don't know, Portland, Oregon. You're able to go inside there, place this as the destination. You can see what hotels are available, what rental cars places are available, what flights are available, and then it'll show you exactly how much those would cost in cash and how much they cost in points. And if you have the points available, it's as easy as clicking purchase, apply my points, boom.
On like your hotel, your travel car, or whatever, like stuff like that, right? Interesting. Do you have a favorite portal that you prefer to use? Not based on like how many points you get, but is one more user-friendly than the other?
I would say Capital One's probably has the most user-friendly one.
Okay.
Just because it's very super simple. I think they partner with Experian, so I'm pretty sure it's Experian's portal really. It's just like logoed Capital One.
Yeah.
Which is very, very easy to use. But honestly, all of them are super simple.
They're all super simple. So okay, that's good.
If you can't figure it out, like that's really on you.
But it is really simple.
It's very simple.
I mean, nothing to be afraid of.
It'll be destination, and then at the top it'll say like flights, hotels, rental cars, cruises, and then you just click what you want, go there.
I love that.
So that's the best.
Cruises?
Yep.
Really? You can go on a cruise with points?
Yeah.
Oh, sign me up.
Now, the thing with cruises is, and we've talked about this in the last podcast, so let's bring it up. The way to really maximize your points and miles isn't often by booking through the portals themselves. It's not by booking through Chase. It's not by booking through Capital One. It's not through booking through American Express. It's by transferring those points out to the transfer partners. And that's where we can really get upsized rewards. But with cruises, there are no cruise travel partners. So there really isn't like a Carnival travel partner that you can get. Because I don't think Carnival or Viking or Princess or any of those cruises have like reward points. I know they have rewards for like status.
Yeah, for like how many cruises you go on, but not for...
I don't think you can like book with points for them. But you can through the portal. Because the portal is an exact like dollar for points spend.
Interesting. So you still could go on a cruise using points.
You can. It's
not the same as going on to Seattle and booking a hotel with Marriott. Yeah. Because in Marriott you would transfer your points. You'd transfer your points from say Chase into Marriott and then redeem them there like that.
Exactly. So you could certainly book a cruise through the portal, but it might not be the best value that you could have gotten had you transferred to Marriott, had you transferred directly to Southwest Airlines, had you transferred directly to United Airlines. You might be able to get a better way that way. I mean, just look at my wife and I. I'll give you just a quick one. We're going to Japan in like 2 weeks, or no, not 2 weeks, like 2 months. A month, like a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
In like a month, we're going to go in Japan. So we're going to be staying at the Sheraton Osaka, which is like a Grand Sheraton or something like that, Osaka.
It sounds cool.
It is. And then we're also staying at the Ritz-Carlton.
Also very posh.
Also very posh.
Nice.
And that one is, I forget what it's called, in a different city.
Yeah.
Both of those, had we booked through the travel portal, would have used up like 200,000 points for us to book those 2 hotels.
It's a lot of points.
Yes.
That might be all your points.
No, but it would have been a lot of points. But since we went ahead and we transferred directly to Hyatt, directly to Marriott, since Marriott is a partner with Ritz, we booked directly through it. Rather than it costing us 200,000 points to stay in those 2 hotels for 2 weeks, it only cost us 120,000 points. So we were able to save basically 60% or 40% of our points just by transferring directly to the hotels rather than booking through the portal.
Rather than like okay. Interesting. And how did you know to do that? How can someone know to do that if it's not obvious?
Now, I wish there was a simple way that I could tell you, like, this is the best way to do it. The only way that I know, and I'm sure there are better ways, so please, if you know a better way, put it in the comments and let us know. I know there are websites, I just don't use them, is iLook. Like, I would go and say, like, hey, if I book through the portal, it's this. If I go to, and then I'll go to, like, the Sheraton Osaka, and I'll say, how much is it right now? And I'll look at on those exact same dates, and I'll say, what would it cost in points? And then if it cost 200,000 points through the portal, but if I was able to have the points with Sheraton, and it said 120,000 points, now I know, okay, that one's better. I'm just going to go ahead and transfer the points because it's very easy to do that.
Interesting. That makes sense. So basically, when you said, yeah, I go to iLook, and I'm like, oh, is that a website?
No, I go and I look.
Yeah. No, it was, okay, that's simple enough.
Yeah, it is. And so I'm just going to really 2 websites. I'm looking at the portal, then I'm going to directly to the hotel's website, and I'm saying, what if I used points, what would you give me the points at?
And I mean, that's a Google search away.
It's
really
a search. Really. 2 tabs open.
2 tabs open.
Easy to go. I know that even some of them, like Capital One's really good in that they even have a little like bar at the bottom as you're trying to book that'll say, this is a good time to offer, this is a good value, versus so like, nice. This is not a good value, hold off on that. And I know with Capital One, you can even purchase insurance saying like, hey, I purchased at this price, but if it goes any lower, I want you to cancel and rebook it for me automatically. And then it costs a little bit of money for them to do that.
Yeah.
But you can sometimes save hundreds and hundreds of dollars that way.
How much is the insurance, or does it depend on the trip?
It depends on the trip. Depends on how expensive the trip is.
Gotcha.
So typically I've seen it like $50 to $100.
Okay.
But you can sometimes save like $500 to $600, or you could save nothing.
Or you could spend $50. Okay.
Or you could save nothing because it doesn't drop anymore. So that's kind of the, the tit for tat.
Cool. I like that. Yeah. So that's a good tip. I like that. Sometimes transferring into the actual company, you get a better value.
You often get a better value. Not all the time. Sometimes the travel partners or the portals are the best, but it's always very important to look before you actually book. But that's a good rhyme.
That's a good one.
It's good to look before you book. Yeah. But also don't get bogged down in analysis paralysis where you're like, there has to be a better way to do this. There has to be a better way. Is there a better way? Probably. But once you find something that you're good with, if you have the points and do it, like these are free points. Like this is the way I look at my travel rewards is this is free money. Mm-hmm. Like interesting. This is free money and I'm using it to travel the world for free.
Definitely.
And
I was going to say, I don't know if we were going to mention it in today's podcast, but should I be saving up my points for retirement, like saving up money? Or is that...
No, I definitely wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I've met some people who are like, oh, I have 1 million points. So just so you know.
I'm the big boss.
I'm doing really, really good.
Yeah.
You know, but this isn't like with retirement where we can save our money. Ideally, like you're not just saving your money either and putting it under your bed. And unfortunately, that's what points are. It's you're just sitting there and you're saving it. Yeah. There is no investing your points to accrue more points like you can with retirement.
That'd be so perfect.
And just like with money, it's also getting devalued due to inflation. So you know how like if we have our cash, we put it under our bed, it's getting devalued every year at a rate of 3%. Right now it's like 6 or 7% inflation. With credit card points, there is no inflation taken away, but all the credit card companies are constantly tearing back what their points are worth. I have never in the history of looking at credit card rewards ever seen a point where the credit card company is like, hey, you know, every point is valued at 1 cent per point. You know what? Now it's worth 2 cents per point.
They rarely ever bump it.
They've never done that.
They've never done that.
They've done the opposite way though, where it's like, hey, every 1 cent per point, now it's actually 0.5 cents per point.
Gotcha.
So it's only losing value. So I say if you're building up something, like you're trying to accrue all of your points for a big trip, that's the time to save your points. But there is no reason that I look at that you're like, I just want to have all these points just to have all these points, unless you're like trying to, I don't know, flex on somebody.
Flex on the other hackers.
Yeah, I have 1 million points. It's like, okay, well, I have like 16 trips.
Yeah.
So
it's like I've been to all the countries, I've been to all the continents.
Yeah. I've gone on all these trips with my spouse, and like, you have all your points. So good, like good for you. I guess
you have
like,
a number. I have memories.
I guess you won. Like,
yeah,
it's real. What game do you want to play?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, so there's so many different ways of looking at that, and I would just say like don't hold on to the points. Don't be a dragon. Don't try to hoard these points because you're just losing value with them. You can't invest them for better things. I think the next thing I want to get into is when you are booking, being flexible with your travel.
Gotcha. So not being too like set on one day, or are you saying like, I'm curious, is it better to book like last minute to get a better deal, or like super far out?
Good. So there's two ways of looking at this.
Okay.
The worst time to book is when you're like 3 to 4 months out. Like that's when most people are booking things, right?
I'm thinking about it. Remember the trip I was telling you about? That's in 3 months. I'm thinking like, dang, I got to get a flight. And that's literally,
That's when everyone's booking. 3 to 6 months out. That's when everyone's trying to book. So if you're trying to redeem your points and try to find the best value, what I have found is either you're booking like last minute. So say you're solo, you have no kids, or it's just you and your spouse, and you can just, run a company or whatever, you just drop the hat. Then that is a great way to redeem points. If you can go pretty much last minute, like next 2 days, next week, because all of these airlines, all of these hotels, maybe even all these cruise ships, they have these rooms that are available that they know if we don't fill them, then we're just losing money.
We're just
we
need to fill them.
We got to fill them. So that's when they're willing to in the last week, when it's crunch time, they're willing to drop the prices just to get people to be like, hey, I'll take that.
Yeah.
And then that's where you can find really, really great value.
I see deals like that all the time. I was on a cruise once, and this guy was a local at the bar. And like I was talking to him, I don't drink, but we were watching a game. And I was like, getting to know him and stuff. And he lived like right where the departing city is. And like, I was like, do you get a discount for like locals? And he's like, no, but like when it goes on sale, like what you're talking about, like last minute sale, he just books it.
Yep.
Because he's so close.
Because he just walks down there.
Because he walks down there. Yeah. Like for me, it's like, I gotta arrange stuff with the pod. I gotta arrange stuff out here. I gotta book a flight to get there and make sure I get there a day early, and then like go. And it's just like the barrier to entry is just so less. I'm like, damn, I wish I lived near water so I could.
And you're retired so that you could just do it. I mean, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, we just do a virtual pod. Just put the camera right here. Like,
that's why you pursue financial independence, so that you can do that. Exactly. But the pod, even if you're financially independent, the pod's fun.
The pod is very fun.
so there's two extremes, right? We could either do it right at the last minute, but that takes a lot of. That means that your life is basically set to like be dropped at a at the whim.
And what's your definition of last minute?
Like a week.
Like a week?
A week to 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks is solid.
And that's still difficult. Yeah. So, but I mean, the closer it gets, the less and less it typically gets in terms of like points or money that's going to cost.
Okay.
The other extreme would be booking like 8 months to a year or a year plus in advance. So basically, as soon as the airlines release their dates, or as soon as you're able to even start booking for that far in advance, that's the other time that you can start to book to get really good value. So either you're booking very, very close to the travel date or as far out as you possibly can. My recommendation, based off my life, is I like to book very, very far in advance. And the reason for that isn't that we just can't drop everything in life, which unfortunately we can't. We have animals, we have all this stuff, we have houses,
Businesses, yeah.
We have businesses,
Jobs, yeah.
We just can't leave. But the reason I like booking so far in advance is it gives you and your spouse, or just you and yourself, something to look forward to constantly. And as someone who's traveled a lot, traveling is amazing. It's the bee's knees. I love traveling. But when I think back, it's more the memories that me and my wife are anticipating that's more fun than the actual vacation. The vacation's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Love the vacation. But being able to like talk about like and just getting to have something that we get to look forward to for so long, that is awesome. And always having that thing that we're getting around the corner. The next year, hey, 2025 is Kenya. After that is this. That's just awesome to know.
So much fun. Yeah.
Rather than like the fear of like, I hope I get to go on a trip and I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, that sucks. That's so true. The anticipation is so much fun. Yeah. That's like the anticipation of the first day are the best days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Damn. I'm just like going back to like every trip I've ever had and like first day was always the best day.
First day is always the best day because again, there's the idea of like the
transitioning from work dom to vacation dom.
Yep. And also like you begin to habituate very, very quickly. Like we have this like baseline level of happiness that it goes up for a second, but then it returns back down to baseline and we become like, oh, well, this is just normal. Yeah. Like where it's really not.
Yeah.
So
I want to go on that trip again. That's why we got to get these points in line.
So we got these points in line. That's what we're going to help you out with.
So we talked about how to redeem them.
We talked about how to redeem them, ways to maximize your points, flexibility, booking, and then I even gave you a success story as to like how I was able to do that by booking outside of the portals.
Absolutely.
But remember, just look at different ways. Once you find something that you're happy with, just go with it and don't look back. That's something I think a lot of people struggle with is they'll go ahead and they'll book their points and then they keep on looking, saying like, what if I didn't do that? What better deal could I have gotten? And then they're just like, basically just mentally hurting themselves over and over and over again, where it doesn't matter. You already booked the points. Just live on with your life.
Yeah. I mean,
you got an amazing deal. Just
save for another trip. Yeah. It's like, why worry about the trip that's coming up that's already booked when you can just plan for another trip?
Yep. Start earning more rewards and get to the next one.
Yep.
So segment 2, what I want to get into is staying up to date on offers and promotions.
Okay.
So when it comes to this, it's always about like going to the points guide, going to the credit card hacking forums, listen to the Fi Guys, because we're going to tell you all of the good things that are coming up right now, because these points are constantly changing. They're constantly getting devalued. And then sometimes there are limited time promotions, like we talked about, where things are, or points will get valued at substantially higher amount than they normally are. So
nice.
An example of that would be sometimes, and the only way to know this is by either logging into every single travel portal and like seeing what the transfer partners are, or listening to the Fi Guys, or you have some sort of rewards thing. I talked about Travel Freely. I use Travel Freely and it tells me a lot of the things that are going on. So I share it with you guys as soon as I know. But sometimes, recently, it was American Express. They had a transfer bonus that if you transferred any of your points from American Express to Marriott, rather than it transferring at a 1-for-1, so 1 point of Capital One for 1 point Marriott, it was 1 for 1.5. So you basically got a 50% increase on everything you transferred. Okay. So if I transferred 30,000 points from American Express to Marriott, I have 45,000 points.
Okay. Is that the craziest deal that
we double the points?
You've seen 2x?
I've seen 2x.
Okay. Oh, where was that?
I think that was to IHG.
What's that?
IHG is just another hotel chain.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like you sneezed or something.
Yeah.
IHG was like
Gesundheit?
Yeah, bless you. I don't know.
IHG, it's a hotel brand.
Okay.
So yeah, it was double the points, which was amazing. So me and my wife were able to basically transfer 100,000, got 200,000 points, and
that's so nice.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
Where are they at? Is it like Europe or something?
No, IHGs are all over the place.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember who runs them.
Interesting. So getting back on it, we talked about all of that. What's next?
The next thing is going to be accessing business credit cards.
Yes.
So this is a game changer that not many people talk about, how we're able to, because I mean, how many just normal like personal cards are there? There's a lot of personal
There's
cards.
a lot.
And you could definitely run through them pretty quickly, but eventually you're going to kind of run out, especially with Chase's 524 rule, which we should probably talk about.
We should probably talk about that. Yeah, that's it's not even
We didn't even talk. Yeah.
No,
what are we thinking about? Okay.
What were we thinking about? Yeah, go for it.
So Chase's 524 rule, this is a unofficial official rule of Chase.
Okay.
In that you could only have 5 credit cards open in 24 months. If you try to open up any more cards than that, Chase will automatically deny you.
Gotcha.
So 5 credit cards in 24 months, that's 2 years. That sounds like a lot, but in travel rewards lingo, it's not a lot. So like I said, there's 3 major players in this game: Chase, Capital One, American Express. There are others. There's Discover. There's a whole bunch of other ones. But what I always recommend is if you're getting started in this, we want to usually start with a Chase credit card, because once you have your 5 Chase credit cards in 24 months, you cannot apply for any more until another card like falls off on that rolling scale.
Another Chase card.
No, any card.
Any card.
Yep.
Really?
So you can go ahead and open up 5 American Express cards. The moment you go to open a Chase card, you're going to get denied. Because Chase doesn't care if it's with Chase or with anyone else.
And then this is only Chase.
It's only Chase that does this.
So what you're saying is basically we should get the 5 Chase, focus on Chase first, right? And if you get your 5, whatever, that's great. And then go out into
because you can go to Capital One, you can go to American Express and have more than 5 cards. They don't care. But Chase does care. But I'm not saying only stick with Chase for your first 5 cards. Like, look around, find what's going to be best for you, but make sure that you're mindful of that if you have more than 5 cards in 24 months, you will automatically be denied for Chase cards moving forward.
So like we'll say I have like 3 cards, right? But the lifetime of them is like, I've had one for 10 years, one for 7 years, one for 2 years.
Then you only have 1 card, the 2-year one for Chase.
Okay, cool. So I could still get 5 cards.
You can get 4 cards.
I get 4 cards.
But then, I mean, say it's at 2 years right now, then at 2 years in a month, now you are back down to 0.
So I could get 1 more card.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's a rolling calendar.
It's a rolling calendar. Okay, cool. That's fair enough.
So that's Chase's 524 rule. But the reason I bring that up is because if you have business credit cards are not you. They do not affect your 524.
Interesting.
So you can actually have multiple business cards and personal cards through Capital One, Discover, American Express, Chase.
Yep. All that fun stuff.
All that fun stuff with business credit cards.
Interesting.
So
Didn't know that.
I know what you're probably thinking to yourself now, viewers. You're saying, okay, that sounds great, but I don't own a business.
Yeah, I don't have an LLC.
I don't have an LLC. I don't have my S Corp. I don't have 60 employees. I'm not making $1 million a year.
I'm not Jeff Bezos.
I'm not Jeff Bezos. I don't have a business. Well, I'm here to tell you that the good thing is credit card companies are not the IRS. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go out and lie, but you actually can apply for credit cards with your social security number. Your personal social security number, you can apply for a business credit card. And this is actually the way that I started in Mons on Wealth, is because I wanted to get into business credit cards and I wanted to continue to travel hack. So in a way, business credit cards and like travel hacking was the thing that made me start my own company.
That's really funny. I love that. What an origin story.
What an origin story. Yeah, I just wanted to travel more. So I started a company and it worked out.
Yep. And now I work for myself.
Yeah, and I work for myself and it's great. Yeah. But it really is. And you know, Chase is not the IRS. So can you walk a dog? Can you go like dog walk? Do you Uber? Can you do DoorDash?
Do you sell things
Can you sell things?
Etsy or like farmers markets?
Yep. All of that are legitimate businesses. You do not need to have an LLC. You can do a sole proprietorship. And if you go to one of these business ones, you can even test this today. Go ahead and just apply for a business card. You do not need to press the apply button, but you can go there and see the questionnaire they ask for. They're going to ask for like gross revenue. Just put in what you make a year. Yeah. It can be combined between your quote unquote side hustle and your actual, what you make just in a year working your W-2 job. You can put like, I'm a dog walker. For my wife, she doesn't own a company. She works as a veterinarian. We just put that she is a dog sitter, a veterinary dog sitter, because we have friends that we watch their animals and they watch our animals and we pay money back and forth to one another. Legitimate business right there.
Legitimate business. Interesting.
She doesn't have an LLC. She doesn't have anything like that. No. But she still has business credit cards.
Yeah. And you know, an LLC doesn't mean that you're not a business. It's like an LLC doesn't mean
It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
It's just a limited liability company.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
It just protects you from being sued a little bit.
It protects you, the individual, from being sued. Yes.
Yeah, so they can't go after your personal assets.
But you can still run a sole proprietorship and still get applied and still get these credit cards.
I remember one of my mentors in college. He was audio engineer and he recorded people and stuff. And I was asking him like, okay, so I'm trying to set up my business. I'm trying to, I got a brick. Actually, at this point I already had like a brick and mortar location where I was like recording people, and I was like, should I get like sole proprietor, S corp, or LLC? And he's like, what's that? He's like, yeah, I never did any of that. Never did any of that. And he was like really successful.
People just pay me in Venmo.
Yeah, like they just like, I just send them the PayPal link and they pay me, and that's how I've done it. I've never been sued or needed to.
And you could definitely maximize his taxes, though.
Yeah, he could definitely maximize his taxes. But this was a guy who was like not in it for like the money. He was like there because he loved it. But still, I agree. I always thought that was so interesting. I'm like, wow. Like, I feel like for me, I was like, I don't think I should have gotten an LLC when I did. So I wasn't ready for it.
I'll tell you, I shouldn't have converted my LLC to an S corp as soon as I did. So, and then that's okay. I mean, we live, we learn.
We live and learn.
But I think what the big thing is so many people, especially with like credit cards, with business, with everything, is they're looking for like, I need to know all this information before I can get started.
Yeah.
Like I need to have the perfect plan before I can start. When I say you need to start in order to find the plan.
Yeah.
Because things are going to change, things are going to unfold. Just keep on moving forward, keep on trying, keep on reiterating. You're going to mess up, and that's okay.
Yeah. Start before you're ready.
Start before you're ready.
Yeah. I saw this quote the other day. It was, is fear a barrier or a bridge to success?
That's for a barrier. Okay.
And I was like, oh, I like that. And like for me, it was like, I was like, I'll just do it. And it worked out, but I wish I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But still, it worked out in the end. But yeah.
But you don't have to go through all those mistakes that we just talked about. You can just legitimately do it as a sole proprietor, which is something I wish I would have done a little bit longer before making my LLC and my S corp. But you don't need to do any of that for the travel credit cards rewards. I thought that I needed a legitimate business with an LLC to even apply for a credit card. And then I learned later that I didn't need any of that. I'm so glad that I did it because it all worked out.
Yeah.
But it's super stressful. I mean, taxes were very annoying.
A mess, yeah.
A mess. Everything was confusing. I figured it out, thankfully, but I'm trying to teach you guys that you don't have to go through that.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like cursing my name.
Monzo.
How dare he do this to me? But you don't have to. You can just do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So accessing business credit cards. Another nice thing is it does not actually hurt your credit score when you apply for business credit cards because it's not doing a hard pull from your credit score, given that you have an LLC. If you don't have an LLC, then it is going to pull from your social security number. Okay. And that's okay. So it will hurt there, but it does not affect Chase's 524 rule. It doesn't affect, so you can get like 2 branded cards. You can get a Chase Ink card or a Chase Sapphire card for both your business and for yourself, and get the retention offers and the bonus offers and the points in both of them.
It's pretty good.
You couldn't do that.
It's pretty good.
Without having to wait 4 years for it to fall off.
Interesting. Definitely. That's a good little hack. That's a good little hack. I don't think that one is a hack that most people are going to do, but I think that's like a high level hack.
Yeah. So I have a Chase, like I have 2 Chase cards that are the same card that are both the
one's for Chris Monzon.
One's for Chris Monzon, one's for Chris Monzon Wealth.
Gotcha.
Yep. And they're the exact same credit card, look exactly the same. Just one of them has my LLC on.
And do those pull the points, right?
Yep. And I can, so that's a really nice thing is you can actually transfer points between each other. So I can say like, in my ultimate rewards, it'll say 100,000. It's because there's 100,000 from this one, 100,000 from that one. With Chase, there are some and with all the cards, actually, there are some other ones where you have the higher tier cards, like the Sapphires, the Platinums, and you have access to all these things. You can still get cards that are free cards that'll typically get you cashback rewards. You can actually transfer those cashback rewards into points and redeem, instead of redeeming for cash, which is usually not the best offer in terms of making money back. You can convert them to points, and then you can use them for travel.
Interesting.
It's a higher level thing.
No, a higher level. Yeah. But no, I like that. I mean, that's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah. So now we talked about how to do this personally with personal cards. We talked about how to do it with business cards. And we just said, like, by doing that, we just unlock the whole world and being able to always basically have cards we can apply for. Now let's introduce playing this in 2-player mode.
This is a game that you play with a partner, correct?
I play this game with a partner. You don't have to.
You don't have to
But I have my spouse.
Interesting.
And my spouse now has a good credit score as well. So I think it would be silly if it was just me applying for all the cards, doing all these things, because there's some cards that I can only get every 4 years. I can get the offer on. There's some cards I can only get them every 2 years, some every 7 years. But if there's cards that I can apply for every 2 years and get the offers, what if I applied for one in 2 years? My wife applied for one 2 years later, and we always have these bonuses. We're just leapfrogging, have these bonuses constantly come in.
And then a question. So if you guys just continue to leapfrog, at what point do you start canceling the cards?
We're going to get into that in a second.
We're going to get into that? Okay, cool. I was just curious because I feel like the viewer loves a good exit strategy, just in case they get nervous or something goes wrong, or it's all fear in the mindset. But we got to know how to exit.
How to get. We'll get into that. But what I am saying before we get into that is there is a 2-player mode where both you and your spouse, so only one of you really has to be in the travel rewards to do this. But you can just basically tell your partner, like, hey, I'm going to use this card for this long, and I would like you to apply for the exact same card or for a different card or for whatever I think is best. And that way you guys can actually pool your points, because the nice thing is if you have points with Chase, if you have points with American Express, points with Capital One, you can actually transfer points to other people.
Really?
Yep. So say you have a Chase account, I have a Chase account, and we want to pool our points.
Yeah.
You have 100,000, I have 200,000. We need 300,000 together to book it.
Yeah.
I can call up Chase and say, hey, I want to transfer 200 points of mine to Dominic.
Interesting. Really?
And then I have to give Dominic's, you'll have to be there with me and say like, okay, what's Dominic's account number? What's your account number? Now Dominic has 300,000.
That's so sweaty. That's so, dude, I just wish you had like a minion, like a giant community of people just collecting points. Like now we pull our points for the ultimate trip. Dang, that's crazy. I don't think people know about that.
Nope. So me and my wife, we did that recently for Kenya, for booking our Kenya trip. We had to consolidate all of our points into one.
Yeah.
And I know that some of them, I will preface this, some of them you have to live in the same household.
Dang. Okay.
Some of them.
Fair enough.
Not
some of them.
For some of them. For some of the credit cards, you have to live in the same household.
Okay. Interesting. That's not too bad though.
No.
It's not too bad.
So, but that word mainly makes sense for a partner, like a true life partner. Even you don't have to be married, just live in the same household.
Yes.
And, I mean, again, the credit card companies aren't the IRS. They're not going to be like, let me see your home address. See your home address to say like, hey, this is my partner and I want to transfer partners, and it's cool. Typically, I've never run into an issue. Just going to say it that way.
That's wild. Yeah. That's cool though. That's really cool.
So you can play this 2-player mode. You can constantly have 100% points times 2.
That's awesome. I'm just curious, if you don't mind me asking, how many points did you use for Kenya?
The booking for the hotel was like 280, I think. Oh my God. That was for, I think, 5 or 6 nights, something like that, 6 or 7 nights. The more expensive one, and this is what we're still working on, is getting the Emirates flights, because we want to do Emirates business class. We haven't done this yet. So nice. We're going to fly from LAX to Dubai, and then Dubai to Nairobi, and then we're going to take a hopper from Nairobi to Kenya.
Like, that's a lot of flights.
It is. It's going to be a long time.
That's going to be oh my God, to Dubai, that's a long flight.
And that's what we're doing. That's why we want to do business class. Yeah. We already booked the hotel with points, but we need to still book the flights in points, which we're doing.
How many points would you need to use? How many points would you like to use on that flight?
Business class from here to Kenya is going to be extremely expensive. I'm expecting it to probably be like 400,000 points. Wow. Which if I was just using personal cards would be very, very difficult to do. Yeah. But I mean, if I get a business card that gives me 100,000 points, my wife gets a business credit card that gives her 100,000 points after a minimum spend. We get 2 personal cards, 100. We just met it in 4 cards.
Interesting. That's wild.
And that's not even including our daily spend that we put on the cards when we go grocery shopping and doing other things.
Gotcha. Dang, that's crazy that you can get a flight to Kenya paid for that quick.
It's not quick. It's going to take us.
You still have to hit the minimum spend.
The minimum spend. So it'll probably take us like 8 months to do it.
Yeah.
And planning, planning and doing it.
That's cool. That's so cool. I love hearing the like real life experience and like the real life stories. I
people like that, like of actually doing it.
Yeah.
Let's say like, oh, this is what I do.
In theory, this is what you do.
But like, no, this is actually how I do it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. That's awesome.
So the last question you asked me is like, okay, we have all these cards. Me and my spouse are doing it. I have all these business credit cards, all these cards, and now I'm feeling overwhelmed. I have too many cards. What do I do?
Yeah.
So before you cancel any credit cards, I want you to really, really think, and you should ask yourself this every single time. Am I getting value out of this credit card? And I'll give you an example personally again. my American Express card, my Platinum, is coming up for redemption next month. That credit card is $700 to maintain. With that credit card, it gives me a bunch of different things. So I get clear credit, so I get to go through TSA even faster.
Yeah.
It gives me access to, I think, Hulu and all these other ones for free. So you get like Hulu and Disney Plus and all that stuff.
Nice.
Gives me access to the Wall Street Journal and all these things for free.
Cool.
And MoneyWise and Barron's and all that stuff for free. And also, when I signed up for it, I got 120,000 points. But every single year, I have to put that $700 value that the card is going to cost me versus all of the things that I get for it and say, am I making money on this card? And if I am not, then I am willing to get rid of that card.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll have to look at it and say, like, hey, we're traveling 10 times this year. Every time I fly, I'm going to be able to go to the Centurion Lounge.
Yeah.
I value the Centurion Lounge. Usually I value it at $30 every time I go inside there.
Yeah.
So if I go inside there 10 times, that's $300.
Gotcha.
So that's the way I value it.
Gotcha.
And you can value it yourself, because I go inside there, I'll grab 2 drinks, typically 2 alcoholic drinks for free. I'll eat a lunch where I know if I went to the bar or something inside of an airport, I'm going to be spending like $50. So you can discount it, whatever. Plus, also, I wouldn't be drinking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Plus, it's nicer.
yeah. Oh, it's way nicer.
It's so nice.
Yeah. So I value that at like 30 to $50, depending on it. So there's just ways to look at that. But I'm also here to say, like, it is okay to cancel your cards if they're not adding value to you.
Yeah.
And you need to be relentless on that. But just know that whenever you cancel a card, it will ding your credit score. And that's okay, because now you're showing that you have less credit available to you to go ahead and do that. So if you have questions on that, go back to episode, I think it was 26. We talked all about the credit score and how that works. So something to think about there.
One question I just thought of, it's kind of a stupid, like, what if question. What if someone, let's say they had like a 750 or whatever, and they canceled all their cards? What would happen?
I have no idea, because that would mean all of your credit utilization would go away.
It would go away, and your credit history would go away.
Yeah.
Anything that is credit would go away.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
That's a weird. I wonder if someone's got it.
I'm sure someone's done it.
Well,
there are people that do that all the time, where they're like, oh, I'm just going to cut up all my credit cards and cancel everything.
Yeah.
There's people that do it. I don't know.
They want a clean slate.
I wouldn't do it.
No. I was just thinking about that. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah. But so say like it's time to cancel the credit cards, and we've assessed, like, this is not making sense for me. I'm spending more money having the card than the value I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
Before you cancel that card, first off, okay, so you apply for the card, right?
Yes.
Say you apply for a card right now, you get the retention offer. Do not cancel that, or you get your bonus offer for applying for it.
The first time.
Yeah, the first time. You cannot cancel that card until 1 year after you've got it. If you cancel the card like 9 months in, you're like, oh, I really don't want to get a fee on this card. If you cancel it, that credit card company, you have to read the terms and conditions, can actually take away all the points that you had. And if you use those points, you have to pay them back for those points.
What?
Read the terms and conditions. Most credit cards want you to have the card for at least a year. Damn. And if you try to take it out, they're going to take back the points to make you pay for it. But here's the nice thing. If you just allow them to take the fee, so say for my credit card, it's going to take the fee of $700. Most credit cards give you 30 to 45 days to cancel the card and get a full refund of your fee. So you have to wait until they take the payment. Then you have to call them and tell them, hey, I don't want to keep this card anymore. And then you can get the money back.
Interesting.
But do not cancel cards before 1 year, because if you do that, that's called churning, where you're constantly trying to basically game the system. And every single credit card company will learn, like, oh, he's just trying to get the points, keep it for 6 months, and then not pay again. And then they're going to start automatically denying you in the future.
Really? That's crazy.
So be very, very cautious on that. Keep your cards open for at least a year.
At least a year.
If not longer. But before you cancel the cards, you shouldn't just say, like, I got this card. This card's $700 and it's too expensive for me. I'm just going to cancel it and not even have a conversation. It's always great to negotiate. This is your time to practice negotiating. You can call up the credit card companies. Most credit card companies even have a chat feature. I'm going to tell you my script right now. Hello, American Express. Thank you so much. I really like this card, but I got to tell you, I'm just not seeing the value in the $700 every year. Then we're going to go back and forth of them telling me all of the offers that the credit card has. Like, oh, you can do this. You can do Uber Eats. You can do all these things. And I usually say, I don't use Uber Eats. I don't do these things. Like, I see that it has $400 of value, but I can't justify the other $300. This is where they will typically come in with something called a retention offer. A retention offer is where the card or the credit card company will say, how about this? If you keep the card open for another year, because they don't want to lose you, they're also hoping that you stay with the card and then eventually you screw up enough that you start accruing interest on the card.
Yeah.
They'll say this, how about if you spend $3,000 in the next 3 months, we'll take off $500 of your annual fee. And now you can say, okay, so I spend $3,000, which is normal
Depending
spend
on your life,
which is normal spend for me. You're basically going to make this car $200 worth of value for me. Yes?
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll agree to that. Now you've just done it for another year. So I'm going to have to do this here next month for my American Express. I do this every single year with pretty much every single card.
Interesting.
So you don't have to just cancel a credit card just because you don't see value in it. You can always ask, is there a retention offer? Are you guys willing to work with me to keep this credit card open? Because they don't want to see cards getting closed either. I mean, honestly, from their standpoint, all the cards that get canceled, they have to report that stuff to their shareholders. And that's going to make them look less viable for like investments.
Interesting. Didn't know
So
that.
they want to retain, because every time that they get cards closed, they have to keep that number tracked
Did not know that.
from an investment standpoint.
That's really interesting.
So it's always worth an ask. And I always say, like, keep your cards open as long as you possibly can, but as long as you're getting value out of them.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I'm like, canceling your card and I'm shorting your stock. I am the 1%. Yeah.
But there's so many different ways of looking at that. Sometimes, like, but I will cancel cards. So say, like, if I have a card and I know I can get a redemption or I can get a new offer every 4 years on some cards, I'll cancel them at the 4th year and then reapply for the card and get the intro offer again.
Interesting. Okay.
So those times I'll cancel them. Or sometimes you can even, instead of canceling a card, you can even downgrade a card.
Downgrade and then apply for the same card. Okay.
So that's a good way. Downgrading cards is also an amazing way to keep your credit history, keep the credit score, or keep the credit score, and keep the credit limit, and you don't have to pay the annual fee. So, for example,
You just lose the benefits.
so like for the Chase Sapphire Preferred and Reserve, you can actually downgrade them to the Chase Freedom and Chase Flex. So you can downgrade those for free and still keep everything that you have. I've done that before. Same with American Express. Rather than having the Platinum that's $700, you can download or downgrade to the Green Dot. I think it is for free.
The Green Dot.
Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
I think that's what it's called. I forget.
I think I'm weird names these cards.
But the same with like the Capital One Venture. Remember we talked about that one? That was a $95 annual fee. There's a free version of that too. I think it's called the Capital One something. Can't remember.
The Capital Home one. Stay at home, no adventure.
But then you can even downgrade the other way. So I can go from my Venture X, that's $400, to the Venture, which is $95, which might be easier for me to.
And can you upgrade up?
You can upgrade up, but don't do it because you're not going to get
promotion.
You're not going to get the intro offer.
Okay. And why would anybody upgrade up?
I have no idea.
No idea. Just for simplicity's sake.
Well,
Or
I've had a client who once did that because they had the Venture and they wanted the Venture X because the Venture X has the $300 credit and the $100 or the 10,000 points. So it basically pays you $5. So their thought was like, oh, I'll just apply for the Venture X because it's going to pay me $5 every year. But then they didn't get any offers or anything like that, and they ended up not even using the credits. So now they're just paying additional $300 that they wouldn't have been paying had they just listened to me.
Gotcha. Interesting. Because when you can raise your credit limit on just any card you want. You don't have to go to the next level. Yeah.
You just call and ask, can I get that?
Interesting.
So this is where it really gets important to sometimes, because this can get mile wide and mile deep. It can get very, very complex. So if you ever have questions, you can always reach out to chris@monzonwealth.com. There are so many people online. I'm someone that actually does this stuff like every day, so I can walk you through. I've been able to save people thousands of dollars in mistakes just by coming to me and asking the questions before they did what they were going to do.
Yeah.
So you can always reach out to chris@monzonwealth.com. In addition to just the investment advising that I do, I also do this kind of coaching.
Yeah. And you love this. You can talk all day about this.
This is my stuff, man.
This is your bread and butter. Yeah. I love that.
So I say we finish off with potential risks and pitfalls of doing this whole game.
Okay.
There is always risk in all things in life.
Yes.
If you have a hammer, you can either build a house, or you can smash your hand with it. Same with credit cards and travel rewards. You can either travel the world for free, have an amazing life, be able to jet set everywhere you want, or you can ruin your credit and end up in debt and have to declare bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's two extremes here. Yeah. So let's make sure that we're staying on the good extreme where we're having a great life rather than fearing for our lives.
Absolutely. And that's just comes from being responsible with credit cards.
Being responsible with credit cards, making sure that you are not overextending yourself. Use your credit card strategically like it's a debit card. But it's also important that you read the terms and conditions. Just like I said with that, you have to keep the card open for a year. Had you not listened to that, well, now that credit card could have cost you substantially more than what you gained out of it.
Absolutely.
So you always have to make sure you know the terms and conditions. And the nice thing is, if you need help, you can always reach out. Like, I'm here for you at our audience's disposal.
Yes.
Also, make sure that you're protecting your personal information whenever you're using credit cards. I like credit cards because it helps with that. But there are some places or some things that you can actually go online. They'll say like, hey, well, if you tell us what points you have, we'll go ahead and we'll book the perfect vacation for you. All we need to know in order to do that, though, is your usernames and your passwords.
Yeah.
Don't do those.
I was gonna say that sounds really nice. But that's a scam.
They're real, but those ones are not real. Okay. The ones that you want to do are the ones that you pay them a flat fee. Like, I'm going to pay you $500.
Like a travel agent.
Yeah, I'm going to pay you $500. These are the points I have, and then they're going to tell you where to transfer things. Never give your passwords and your usernames to people.
Gotcha. Ever.
Yep.
Ever. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Internet rule number one.
Internet rule number one. Don't do it. Unless it's us.
Unless it's
for the show.
No. Okay. Yeah. So that's good.
And the other thing is making sure that how to handle unexpected changes to rewards programs. And we've already talked about this. We want to make sure that we are using our cards or our points like as quickly as we can. There is no reason that I see to just maintain your points and hold them as long as you can, because the longer that you hold them, the more chance that the credit card companies are going to downgrade the amount that those points are worth. Yep. So go ahead and use them. If you're saving them up for a big trip, save them up for that big trip. As soon as you have them, deploy them.
Yes.
Get them ready to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's nice to have trips in mind or things in mind that you want to use the points towards. That way you're not just like, oh, I'm just building points just to build points. It's like, there has to be a reason behind it.
Yep, and that's actually a really, really good point. I think that's very important that you have somewhat of a plan. You don't need to know I'm going to go to this destination on these dates at these hotels.
Yeah.
But say like, in this year, I want to go here. This is the reason I'm getting these points.
Yeah.
Because if not, what you don't want to do is have all these credit cards open, be all confused, have all these annual fees constantly hitting, and no vision as to what I'm going to do with all these points. Because that's the time you're going to be cursing my name saying, why did I do all this stuff?
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, I know I'm going to be spending $700 a year in annual fees. Out of that $700, though, next year I'm going to be able to travel for, I don't know, $7,000 worth of travel. Yeah. Now you just 10x your fee. Yep. And that's what I do constantly.
Constantly. You're always doing that.
Constantly doing that.
I like that.
So I think it's kind of like, look at it as a return on investment. How often do we invest in a company saying, like, I really hope I can get like 7% per year. Like, if I got that, I'd be so happy. 7%, 10% per year. This is a way to 100x your investment by putting $100 into the credit card for the annual fee, and then spending the $3,000 or whatever I was already going to spend. I can redeem that for, at minimum, $1,000 worth of value. I just turned my $100 into $1,000 in travel.
Interesting.
That's the way I look at it all the time.
Yeah.
I look at it as an investment. My credit cards are an investment in my happiness.
Yeah, I like
Given that I'm using it the right way.
Yeah, because they could be for your suffering.
They can destroy me.
Yeah, they can wipe you out.
Yeah, they can wipe me out.
Yeah.
It's like the dark side.
It's like the dark side. So do we have any action steps for this?
Of course we have an action step.
We always have an action
step. And this action step last week was to look into the cards more, make sure this is something right for you. This week, if you have found after looking last week and hearing us even further today that even there is an exit strategy, like you don't have to, just because you apply for the card, you're not in it forever. It's not going to ruin your life, not going to ruin your credit score. If you have found that this is a viable strategy for you at your time in your life, meaning that you can handle your credit card responsibly, that you're not already in a bunch of debt, that you have a good job, it's now time to select the card that you want to apply for and then go out and actually get it done.
Yep. Yeah, and start experimenting with getting points and like seeing like, oh, 3% on groceries. Let me go get some groceries. How many points did that get? And start getting yourself in the mind frame that, oh, this is how much this converts to points and whatnot.
And this is what these points convert towards travel.
Exactly. And then you can really start to plan even further the trip that you want, the dream vacation. I know like Japan, Kenya, those are like dream vacations.
Bora Bora.
Just trust. You're leaving for that in a couple days, aren't you?
That's going to be my win of the week, son.
That's going to be win of the week, son. Let's go. Well, that's awesome. I think that's actionable, and I think a lot of great information in there. Hope you guys took notes. If not, run it back.
If not, run it back and look at the show notes.
Yeah,
but you can always listen again. And I say we close out with that.
I say we close out with that.
All right.
As well.
And that concludes another high-flying episode of the Fi Guys podcast. We hope you are pumped as we are of turning credit card points into the ultimate travel companion. From redeeming rewards to staying on top of offers to exploring the benefits of business credit cards and navigating the world of travel hacking with a partner, we've got you covered.
Whether you're a seasoned travel hacker or just starting out, just trying to spread your wings, there's a lot of puns in here.
Always.
In a world full of credit card rewards, we're here to be your guide. So until next time, keep those credit cards ready, your eyes on the rewards, and keep soaring towards your dream destinations. This is Dom, that's Chris. We're signing off as the Fi Guys, and we hope that you have safe travels. And remember that your financial freedom awaits at every destination.
And don't forget for the fee for the show. If you found any value, which I really hope you did over these two-part series, I mean, I've given you every single thing that I know about travel rewards in order to really live your best life. Please share this with a friend or a family member, and bring them along for the journey. Bring them along for financial independence. Bring them along. Have them be your second player in this game so you guys can travel the world together for basically free. And until Friday when we recap everything, I'm Chris. He's Dom. Later.
Peace.
This video podcast is sponsored by Monzon Wealth. The content in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We do not endorse specific products or services. Past performance does not guarantee future results. The opinions expressed are those of the host and guests, not the podcast sponsor.
It is crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor or professional who can provide advice tailored to your specific needs before making any financial decisions, investments, or taking any other actions. If you are seeking specified help, you can reach out to Chris at monzonwealth.com.